No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share. Let's pray together. Come love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning, Unity Renaissance. My name is Ardell McCoy, and I'm going to be your ministerial host today. Reverend Paula and Reverend Richard are away, so they've left you with good hands to take care of you. Now, today we have our spiritual guru, Tom Baker, is going to do the spoken word. For those of you that know much about Unity, we're a New Thought spiritual movement that encourages the positive and practical approach to Christianity. I have some other things I want to tell you about Unity Renaissance. First of all, we are an open church. We take males and females, straight and gay, herbivores and carnivores, okay? You can even bring your animals. We don't care what your political affiliation is. You are definitely welcome here at Unity. But what does Unity have to offer to you? First of all, we have a masterclass spiritual leader, Reverend Paula, okay? We have a house band and singers that rock this church. We have prayer chaplains that will pray you up and, if necessary, pray you out, okay? We have Unity teachers that teach the Unity principles from preschool all the way through the YOU. We have a hospitality team that keeps the coffee flowing and keeps us well fed. We have a New Thought bookstore that's the best on the west side of Hampton Roads. We have volunteers that keep this building and keep this service running all the time. So, and the best thing we have is a loving community that supports the growth and expansion of this church. And if you don't believe it, take a look at the building out there as you leave. Can I get an amen, church? Okay. All of this is accomplished when we have a visioning statement that we do, and together we are a spiritually awakened world living in peace, joy, and joy. And we have a mission statement. Our mission is? We transform lives that transform the world. And that's the truth, don't we? Okay. So let's just kind of go into that inner sanctuary within each of ourselves while I offer up a word of prayer. As I take a breath, and I am grateful, so very grateful to be a part of this community, but so very grateful to know that God is. And with God being all that there is, I'm knowing that as I move into the upper room of my consciousness, I am standing firm with that power, that presence, that omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent God is. My life, your life, all life. I extend this out to the universe. God is. And so from that point, from that strength, from that point of love, I'm blessing this service as it unfolds, knowing that it unfolds on time and in time, and each one of us hears what we need to hear. I know the energy that has collectively come about in this sacred service, in this sanctuary, is here to support its continued growth. Our beloved Reverend Paula, wherever she is, God is, and I'm knowing that she is reinforcing so that when she's here again, she is bringing more of that magnificent spiritual leadership to this community. I am so grateful to be a part of it. I'm knowing that everyone here is holding the high watch for Tom Baker as he gives that spoken word. I'm blessing each ministry, each usher, everyone that is serving in Unity Renaissance. And I'm knowing that that new building that is coming up is expansion number one, because we will continue to grow and improve and move on. We are on a roll, and I let this word go into the law of divine activity where it cannot, will not, never return void. And I say, and so it is.
You guys know this song. Please join me in singing, and you at home as well. Everybody, come on, stand up. Come on.
I forgot to welcome
You thought I was going to let you sit and relax. Come on. I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am again. I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am to be the voice and to be the
Honey, we have 20/20 vision, so when you turn to the person and give the divine salute, please see them through your God-centered self. Together, the divine in me greets the divine in you, and we serve and celebrate together for the glory of God.
I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am to be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. To be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am.
Good morning, everyone. So wonderful to look out here and see all your beautiful faces. So wonderful to imagine you out there online with us this morning. My name is Lisa Smith, and I am your platform host for this morning. And I will be reading the daily word. And our word for today is inner peace. And if you will join me in our affirmation, which is on the screen. Inner peace brings me strength, calm, and clarity. Like the soft glow of a candle, God's peace shines forth from the center of my being. This peace is part of my spiritual inheritance, always ready to be called into expression, no matter what is happening around me. Divine peace comes through me rather than to me, as I remember that I am God's living expression, created in God's image and likeness. To lay hold of God's peace, I need only be willing to let go of anything that blocks it. My willingness allows my power of elimination to work through me as I release all thoughts of limitation, unforgiveness, lack, and fear. My energy continues to grow more and more peaceful and focused as I release each of my limiting thoughts. I become centered in the pure peace of God. Our scripture for this morning comes from Mark 4:39. He woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." We have chaplains who are available to pray with you today after the service, so we invite you to join them in the chapel after the service ends, which is just outside the narthex there. And our chaplains can be identified by their beautiful prayer stools. If our chaplains for this morning, Peggy and Sam, will please stand so you can see them. And please meet them again in the chapel. And if everybody else will also join and stand as we echo the Lord's Prayer.
cool and polite on the outside. When I get a chance, I run and I hide. If your eyes are closed, it's hard to see. But what if I back down now? 'Cause I'm afraid of what might happen. What if they turn away when I show them who I truly am? What if I lose my breath when I throw those big doors open? Or tonight, just tonight, what if I shine? Should I even care? They're all sitting there and everyone's staring at me. If I stood out in the spotlight, maybe I'd be set free. But what if I back down now? 'Cause I'm afraid of what might happen. What if they turn away when I show them who I truly am? What if I lose my breath when I throw those big doors open? Or tonight, just tonight, what if I shine? Shine, shine. I spend too much time thinking about who I'm supposed to be. But what if I lose myself when I throw those big doors open? What if I stand up proud and show them who I truly am? They're gonna call my name and I'll throw those big doors open. Or tonight, just tonight, I'm gonna shine, shine, shine.
Well, now, part of me is Buddhist by temperament. That's not funny. Because part of me sees life as suffering. Ooh. Childbirth, disease, fear, pain, old age. I see our world as a kind of experiment in which we are mainly living outside of love and joy most of the time. That means outside of God. At least that's the case when we grow up. To the grown-up, life is serious. Lots of people are guilty, bad, evil, you name it. Life is lived alone. You're born alone. You live a lonely life. You die alone. That's the Buddhist part, somewhat depressive. I have the unity, Renaissance, optimistic perspective. Now, this side sees that most of us were born into a room full of doctors and nurses, and if you're young, full of relatives and camera equipment. We were nurtured by parents and family or grandparents or other relatives or friends. Someone loved us. And we live among one another who appreciate and respect us. People who we live with people who are going to mourn our passing. We live with people who care about us. Now, were there no pain, physical or emotional, and no fear, the world would actually be a very funny place. And occasionally, we see that humor. I had a pastor once who was an alcoholic. That in itself is not funny. But one Christmas day, he drank all day, and by midnight mass, he could barely stand up. So what he was doing when he gave his sermon, he was leaning on the pulpit. And his sermon that day was, Jesus is the incarnation. And he would bang on the pulpit and say, Jesus is the incarnation. Jesus is the incarnation. And every time he banged on the pulpit, which was not nailed down, moved forward. He was up on a platform. And it moved forward a little bit, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And finally, the people in the first two pews walked up around the pulpit and held it in place. And Father sort of knew something was different. So he went around the side of the pulpit and looked down and he said, "Ah!" He had a moment of clarity. He said, "Ah, behold the incarnation." He got it. He got it. Now, Father Beeler, in his active addiction, was all alone. That's the Buddhist part. But he lived in a world that loved him. That's the unity part. A world that was willing to hold him up even as he threatened to fall on his face. Now, when I think of Father Beeler and his stout little congregation, I feel joy. They loved him without judgment. And Father Beeler could, in some moments, in his drunkenness, speak the truth. Sometimes Father Beeler was wise. Then there was the day when I was a freshman in college, when everybody on our floor decided to sing everything we usually talked. Sounded like this. How are you today? Not feeling so well. I think I'm getting a cold. That's a shame. That's a shame. That's a shame. Isn't that wonderful? It's joyful. But what's causing that joy? Nothing outside in the world. In terms of the world, it's uncaused joy. In terms of the Spirit, it's the natural response to life. When I was a priest, I would often give humorous homilies. One day, one of my parishioners took me aside and gave me a kind of warning. He said, "Father, the Bible is not a funny book." And I replied, "Now, isn't that a shame? If it were funnier, more people would read it." Well, Joe didn't know what to say. He kind of shook his head. It was a joyful little shake. Joy is beyond our control. We're in charge of happiness, we're in charge of satisfaction, but not joy. Joy comes upon us like a rising tidal wave of yes to life. I once had a mystical experience when I was meditating I was a priest at the time, and I was meditating on Mary. And I had a big rose that I was sort of focusing on. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was leaving my body. And I was going up, up, up. And I looked around, and the sky was full of roses. It was wonderful. And I was full of joy. And I was smiling. But then I started to feel like I was so joyful I was going to explode. So I said, no, not right now. Stop. I said no to joy. Now, we are often conditioned to say no to life, to avoid life, to say not yet, not now. I'm not quite ready. Give me a little more time to be afraid. I need a while to live in my guilt. I'm obligated to my regret or my grief. Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. Don't hang around the funeral home. Get busy with life. Now, in the now, is the time of joy. The Unity Church makes a shift, and it makes a shift from God fearing to God feeling. Feel the joy of God, the joy of love forever uncontained. I once had a psychic tell me that I had a good reputation on the other side. They're watching, and they're appreciating us. And it's not between naughty or nice. It's between careful and joyful. The intellect is careful and calculating. The heart is careless in its joy. The fear of God is actually the fear of joy. It used to be God's wrath, his wrath and everlasting punishment. That's what I heard in confession. People were afraid of God. That made sense then. Now we know that joy created us like itself, and there is nothing to fear from God. But we are in the habit, and it is a habit, of being afraid. Subconsciously, we have adjusted to guilt and pessimism. I lived for 15 years among very religious people. It's like I was a paratrooper dropped behind the lines of Catholic America. Catholics are ready to feel guilty. Yes, indeed. It's like I might say to a Catholic, you don't look so good today. And they'd say, you're right, I am no good. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I kept wanting to hug people and assure them that they were okay. I'm okay, you're okay. If people were laughing in church, just like you were doing, there was usually someone to say, we're having too much fun. The fun was to be had in the afterlife, after we had transcended this veil of tears. Suffering was what God wanted. At Mass, before I took communion, I genuflected at the altar and sincerely intoned the words, O Lord, I am not worthy to receive you, but only say the word, and I shall be healed. I looked forward to the day when I could say, I've been healed. I don't need to genuflect. But that day could never come, because then I would have to leave out part of the Mass, and that was a mortal sin. It was like Groundhog Day guilt. over and over again, I am not worthy. It's an old habit. It's a habit among Catholics and among non-Catholics. And today we will, if not break this habit, at least take exception to it. Now, who is ready for joy? Yeah? All right. Well, everybody stand up then. Oh, boy. Okay, now when we give each other the divine thing, we hug each other. I want you to hug each other now, but I want you to hug really tight. Not yourself, somebody else. Go on. You might turn around and hug somebody that hasn't been hugged. All right, okay. You see how out of control joy is? Okay, now stay standing. Well, that wasn't so bad, was it? For a moment or several moments, you were holding God, and God was holding you. The flower of your heart opened in joy. Now, before it closes up again, I want to do something else that will open you to joy or keep you open to joy. But notice as I say this, you may be feeling resistance. You may want to stay in your bubble of solitude where your worth and the worth of others is continually in question. There's that little voice in you that says, "Leave me alone." So pop your bubble and join us. Hold hands. And repeat after me. Hoo-yah! One more time. Hoo-yah! She's there. Okay, now keep holding hands. Now, some of you introverts probably are a little nervous. So we're going to whisper, hoo-yah. So whisper, hoo-yah. Once more time. Hoo-yah. Give a little squeeze. Okay, now sit down. Let me tell you a little story. It's a story about a cemetery. There's a priest named Ambrose MacLeod. Is that a great name? Ambrose MacLeod. And this priest was not drunk. He was perfectly sober. But he was standing by the grave, and they had this plastic grass that they put down around the grave itself. And Father MacLeod was standing too close to the grave, and he started to slip. And the casket is on a stand above the grave, but there's space between the casket and the grave itself, or the edge of the grave. And Father Ambrose McLeod slithered into the grave as he was praying the Our Father who art in heaven. And there he was, crouched in the grave, kind of the living dead. Well, everybody couldn't help it. They all laughed. They laughed and they laughed and they laughed. And they pulled Father McLeod out of the grave. And they said, "Father, how do you feel?" He said, "I feel wonderful." Because when was it ever that this cemetery heard laughter? Something? Yes. Okay, well, we're going to meditate now. And the meditation will be for quiet joy. And you will be helped in the meditation by a poem that I wrote about getting old and still and being ready, open for joy and for love. Here it is. When I am old, old, old as an oak glowing enormous and gold at a dappling day's end, when my face is as wrinkled as the face of a pond in the wind, when remembering is my work and a nap is my recreation, I will be slow enough to pray, to hold sunlight in my hand and wait for love, the way love has of old waited for me. Now hold sunlight in your hand. Feel the joy, the smile of God in your heart. And in the silence, commune with joy.
for Tom Baker. Yes. Hurrah. Always, always. Okay, so this is our time for our love offering. So as you're preparing it, we're going to make sure that you know you can give on your smartphone to give to
540
418-1228.
Text now.
And while you are preparing your gifts, Margaret is going to come forward. Our Margaret Jenkins is the secretary to the board. She's going to come forward and give you some thoughts on tithing. And I think she's in the children's, I think she's coming. Here she comes. The mic is on. Okay.
Good morning, Unity Renaissance family.
Good morning.
Oh, that feels so good. I'm Margaret Jenkins, and this is my God love, Julia. And we're so happy this morning to just share a few words with you about prosperity. I'm sure all of you are aware of our new edition. As soon as you drive up, you see it. And if you're like me, you just feel warm inside and fuzzy because you know our mission is to transform lives that transform the world. And that's what we are doing thanks to you and all of your contributions and donations. So officially, I want to say to each and every one of you in here, thank you so much for every cent you gave to Unity Renaissance last year. It has helped build and will continue to build here in this community where we're really making a difference. So formally, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your donations. Also, there are some people who still struggle with tithing. And if you do, I would like to invite you to please check out a course we're having taught Prosperity 3 by Marianne Morrissey, and it gives you a spiritual perspective on tithing that maybe you've never looked at before. And it helps you to understand that giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin. And the more you give, believe it or not, the more you receive. When you empty, open up, it comes back to you. So I would like to encourage each and every one of you to check out the Prosperity class. It's going to start on January the 22nd at 7 o'clock. It's going to be 7 weeks. Again, thank you so very much for making a difference and helping us to transform lives that transform the world.
And hold it in your hand, and we can recite the offertory blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Give and it's given back to you. Give and it's given back to you. Give and it's given back to you. Press down, shake it together, running over. Having good measure, it's given back to you. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything is here to me, has done me here to this present moment here, to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest part of love, to a sweeter kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my secret source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul. Thank you.
So we just want to take a moment to bless the offerings that have been so generously given by this church community, knowing that these blessings, these offerings go forward to continue to expand and growth of Unity Renaissance. Does good for whatever it's placed out there in the community. It's all good for it's all God. And I say, and so it is. Amen. Thank you for coming forward. Okay. So we want to welcome anybody that's been here, that's visiting for the first, second, or third time. If you have first visit, second visit, or third visit, hold up your fingers so we'll know. We have a 2-time over here. We have a couple of ones over here. Okay, so there. First-time visitors, there's a card in the bag that you're going to get. Oh, okay. Again. Hi there. First-time visitors will have a card in their bag. They can fill out the card, take it to the bookstore, and get a previous CD of Reverend Paula's talks. Second time, you will get an empowered CD and some sacred music from Unity Renaissance. And for the third time, you'll get a Daily Word magazine. So welcome. Come back again. After the third time, you kind of get stuck. So that's good.
We have several things going on after our service today, so we invite you to join us. We're starting off with chili, a chili lunch sponsored by our YOUers. So you can pay for a bowl or two of chili to contribute to their collection for going to their rally, which will be coming up at the end of the month, and to fill your tummies to tide you over for the other things we have going on after that. So at 12:20, we will be reconvening back here in the sanctuary for a Q&A session for the candidates of our Board of Trustees for the coming year. So it'll be an opportunity to meet them, ask them any questions that will help you to determine who you want to vote for at our annual meeting on Sunday the 26th. And then after that, if you can stay at 1 o'clock, we have an attorney coming in who will be doing a legal aid seminar and teaching you about how to pull together a will, a medical directive, powers of attorney, things like that, you know, it's not fun necessarily to do. We sometimes don't like to think about it, but it's really important to make sure that we help our loved ones who need to make decisions when we can't or when we've passed, to make sure that they're doing what you really want, you know, for yourself as well as, you know, anything you're leaving behind. So we invite you to come out for that. That starts at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And it is free, so come.
Ascension over Depression. That's part 2 of the class that was sponsored by Curtis Jones. He's going to do the second part on Saturday, January 18th from 10 to noon. So if you're interested, come out. There's a suggested love offering of $20, but nobody has ever turned away. So think about that. Come out if you're interested. Oh, and then we have Ms. Baxter coming forward to talk about a new singles group.
Hey everybody, I'm Joan Elizabeth, and I'm course correcting the Unity singles group because this is a group for ones, temporarily, permanently. This is for a group to make connections, deep connections, spiritual connections, really diverse connections. It is gender inclusive, age inclusive, and it's love inclusive. So please come out. We are restarting it on the 21st of January, and I want to see you there.
Okay. Okay.
We will be having some upcoming heart math training throughout the year of 2020 and opportunities for you to get trained in heart math, which is a unique approach to emotional well-being. And there will be an introductory meeting to learn more about the heart math, what it is, and how it can benefit you. That's going to be next Sunday at 12:30. So we invite you to join us for that.
Okay, and if you're ready to become a member of Unity Renaissance, you must take a class called Pathway to Discovery. It's a 2-hour class, and it's offered on numerous days, as you can see on the board. And you can sign up on the hall wall for whatever time suits you best, but the class is necessary to take if you're interested in becoming a member. So you can do that at your leisure.
How many of you enjoyed Tom's talk today? Yeah? Well, We've got more Tom for you. So if you enjoyed Tom today, you can come out to a class that he's going to be starting in February. 4 sessions for that class starting February 4th. And it is called Matters of the Heart. And he'll be talking about communication and relationships and real love and forgiveness through these 4 classes. And we're thrilled to say that we're actually going to be live streaming his classes as well. So for those of you especially who've been enjoying our services through the live streaming, it's still not quite ready to come in, you can enjoy Tom's class, and there will be information on our website about that. There's also information in your bulletins, and you can sign up on the hall wall for that.
Okay, so there's the prosperity.
Oh, yes, and let's not forget again about what Margaret told us about the Prosperity Plus 3 class coming up, 7 to 9 p.m., starting Wednesdays on January 22nd.
And I think now it's time for the children. Welcome the youth. Okay.
Good morning. Let's see. Okay, from our kindergarten first grade class, who are our sharing helpers today? Sienna, you want to tell us about this? Can we hold it up? You stand over there and I'll stand over here. You want to tell us?
So these are all people that are diversity. And the only thing that is the same about them is that they are all loving.
Who's our other sharing person? Coco.
God loves everybody no matter how different they are.
Okay, elementary code. Who we got? Gavin, come on up.
We do our best when we have faith in the Christ within to guide our actions.
Angel.
Today we learned how to exercise our faith.
Hi everyone. I'm not the only one here. All my other friends, they're helping set up for this amazing chili that we're gonna be having today. It's 1 bowl for $3 and 2 bowls for $5. So go out there and have yourself some chili. It goes to help support our Wow You rally. So that's pretty important. So we'd be very appreciated if you could go do that.
Would you please stand and join us for the prayer for protection? I'm going to. Let's go. But God surround.